Today we're going to be looking at an extremely rare and obscure Angry Birds plush set that basically nobody knows about. And while these plushes are usually referred to as pillows, since they're big enough to be pillows, that's what people usually refer them as. So yeah, with that said, welcome to a look at the Experto Angry Birds pillow set. Starting off with the first pillow, we have the red. Now, for the details like the eyes and the eyebrows, it seems to be made out of an iron-on material, and it looks pretty good. And while the dark red spots on his face also seem to be made out of the exact same iron-on material, meaning that it could also get damaged. Since the majority of the details on this plushes are made out of an iron-on material, it does mean that they could get damaged pretty easily. And well, especially because these are just really obscure bootlegs, usually bootlegs don't really have the best quality, meaning that they could probably fall apart really easily. But yeah, for the feathers on this plush, the feathers on the head look pretty good, and same thing with the ones on the back as well. They seem to be really nicely made, except they could have a bit more stuffing in them just to give them a bit more detail. And well, for the beak on this plush, it seems to be pretty nicely stuffed, and it has some stitching in the middle of it just to give it a bit more detail, and well, it looks pretty nice. And well, for the rest of the details on this plush, it looks fine, and well, honestly, this plush is overall pretty good. The only really bad thing about this plush, and well, that goes for basically every single plush in this set, is that it uses iron-on material, meaning that it could get damaged pretty easily. But besides that, overall, it's really not that bad of a plush, and if you want it, it's basically impossible to find, as well, for every single plush in the set, it's basically impossible to get them. So if you do want them, you could look on websites like eBay and Zanu, but you just have a really low chance of finding them, as well, they're just really obscure with barely any images of them. Next up we have the blues. Now the face on this plush overall looks pretty good, and it seems that it's supposed to be in a sort of angry expression. And well, once again, it uses iron-on material for the face, and it looks pretty good, as once again, even though it's made out of a really bad material, it still looks pretty nice. All the feathers on this plush are the exact same ones on the red plush, which does mean that they're inaccurate, as well some of the feathers are supposed to be different mattering on which bird they are, so that makes it inaccurate. And while the beak on this plush is also the exact same as the red plush, so once again, it has some stitching for the middle of it just to give it a bit more detail. But yeah, there's nothing really much else to say about this plush, as well, it's pretty simplistic. But yeah, the only really bad things about this plush is that the iron-on material could get damaged pretty easily, and the feathers should be a little bit different and also have a bit more stuffing in them just to give them a bit more detail, as well they just kind of look pretty lacking. Next up we have Chuck. Now the eyebrows and eyes on this plush look pretty good, but once again they are actually made out of an iron-on material, and well there's actually another pretty creative detail that's also made out of an iron-on material. As well, if you look at the top right of the head, you'll actually see that there's a bit more iron-on material there just to give it a bit more detail like it's shining. Which is actually something I've never seen on another Angry Birds plush, well honestly, for being unique, it looks pretty good. As well, it just gives it a slight bit more detail than the other plushes in the set, and basically compared to any other Angry Birds plushes, well, I've never seen another Angry Birds plush, or really many plushes in general, use that. So yeah, that is one really creative detail that they did, and well, for the rest of the plush, the feathers look pretty good, as well, they're unique, and they look pretty nice. And well, for the beak on this plush, once again, it's really nicely stuffed, and it's also a bit different than the other beaks in the set, as well, but it makes sense, as well, but it's supposed to have a unique one. The only really thing that I don't like about it is that the beak is just a really bright orange color, and well, I think they should have just made it a bit of a less orange color, as well, it just stands out a lot more. But besides that, I would actually say that this is one of the better plushes in the set, as well, I really like the extra detail on it, well, it looks pretty good overall, it seems to be really nicely shaped. So yeah, overall, I would have to say that they definitely did a really good job with this Chuck plush, as well, there's really no details I really dislike about this plush, as well, everything looks pretty good. Moving on, we have the bomb. Now all the details on the face are made out of an iron-on material, and well, they all look pretty good. I do like the dark gray circles around the eyes as well, but just gives it a bit more detail, and well, it makes the plush just look a bit nicer than it would have without them. And well, once again, this bomb plush is made to look in an angry expression, well, they did a pretty good job with that. And well, there's also a white dot in the middle of the head, as well, as based off of the old design of bomb, as well, this plush was made around that time. And well, for the beak on this plush, is the exact same beak used on the blue and red plushes, well, they just kind of reused the same beak on the majority of the plushes in the set. And well, for the feather on the top of the head, it looks pretty good, but once again, it could use a bit more stuffing, as well, since it's just kind of like flopping over and everything, and it could look a bit better. It's also just kind of in the front of the head when it's actually supposed to be just slightly further back, so that's just another detail that they just kind of got wrong a little bit, but still it's really not that big of a deal as all the rest of the plush just kind of makes up for it. As of all the details on the face, they basically all got correct, and the only downside about it is that they could get damaged, but everything on this plush actually looks really good. And I would have to say the only bad detail about it is the feather, but still overall it's just really not that bad, and they just did a pretty good job with this plush, and it looks nice. Moving on, we have the pig. Now this plush is actually a bit more unique as it was actually just a Minion pig but damaged. As of usually when companies make Minion pig plushes, they just use the normal design for it, but this company actually decided to be a bit more unique and use this design. As of really, the only Angry Bird plush that's really well known that uses this design is the Helmet Pig plush, which was actually really unique that they decided to do it on a Minion pig. So yeah, off the bat, that just makes the plush a bit more unique than basically any other Angry Birds plush, which is already a good start for it. And while the details like the eyes, eyebrows, and also seems that the nostrils on this plush are made out of an iron-on material. Meaning, just like every other plush in the set, it could get damaged, but overall, they just did a really good job with all the details and everything, and they did a good job designing it. One strange detail about this plush, though, is that there seems to be a slightly lighter green color around the nose, and I don't really know why that is, and I can't really tell if the nose is really well stuffed or not. As though due to this plush only having one image of it, it's overall just really hard to tell if the nose is stuffed or not, well, but it looks pretty strange from this angle that we have of it. But yeah, from what I can tell, the nose does look pretty strange, but it's most likely just really well stuffed and everything, just like every other plush in the set. Well, it seems like every other plush in the set did a good job with it, so I doubt this one would have any problems. And while the ears on this plush are also really nicely made, then there seems to be no stuffing inside of them, just like the feathers used on the bird plushes. But yeah, overall, this definitely has to be a really nice plush, especially because it's also just really unique, so yeah, overall, they just did a really nice job with it. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like and subscribe and comment down below which of these plushes are your favorite, and yeah, have a great day.